We're recording and we're waiting for Amber. Where is she? Yay! There's the crazy lady. You're muted.
Of course.
All right, there you go. Cool. I think you saved my sound settings. It's pretty
Didn't save
exciting.
mine though.
Huh?
Save mine.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Do I sound the way I want to sound?
You sound like a Tirzah.
Do I? Is that a breed of person?
Yeah.
Because apparently there's like several of them. It's kind of funny. Um, Oh, yeah. My attorney, I don't know if I told you this or not. So, my attorney, when he called me last week, it was really funny. So he had emailed, he always emails me beforehand and lets me know that he's going to call me. And when he called me, he's like, "Oh, hey, I got the right Tirzah." And apparently, he's had another client that was a Tirzah, and so he called that person before he called me. So it was just really funny that my attorney has had another client with the same first name as me.
I was on Threads the other day and I saw a post by somebody named Tirzah Wright,
Uh-huh.
spelled the way you spell it, and I
Weird.
had to click on the profile to go. I was like, what? No, I know this is what? It wasn't you. But it was weird because it was another person who's publishing named Tirzah.
When I worked at this restaurant in Salem, I was a hostess, and it was really funny. One of my favorite coworkers, Kelsey Joe, like knew all of the regulars, and like she's just a super personable person. And so when I was hostessing, there was this other regular that the regular's name was Tirzah. So it was funny because like she walked up and I was asked like, what's your how many and like what's your name and stuff. So I'm writing it down and she said her name was Tirzah. And so I just like wrote it down and walked away. And Kelsey Joe comes running up to me. She's like, her name is Tirzah. Did you tell her that your name is Tirzah as well? It's like, no, Kelsey Joe, I didn't. She's like, how could you not? It was just so funny because I don't think that that other person ever knew that my name was Tirzah.
Dude, I have the opposite problem. I tell people my name is Amber. I get called Autumn, April, Ashley, any Amanda. Oh my gosh, Amanda all the time. I'm every name in the world except Amber because there are so many of them and there's so many A names. It's yeah, my name is always. I can be in a group of people and they're like April and I'm like yeah and they're like how did you know I was talking to you? I just realized you're Amber. I'm like because I'm used to this.
So I have a friend that is self-proclaimed dyslexic. I don't know whether it's true or not, but like I'm just gonna say that they're self-proclaimed dyslexic, and it's really funny because they have on multiple occasions, even though they have said my name correctly and it's spelled correctly in their phone, they have introduced me to people as Tirzah before. So then it was really funny because the most recent person that they introduced me to um was then having to like they're like, now wait, let me see if I can get it right. It's Tirzah. No, sorry. So
I hope
that
you
one
know you're now Tirzah
that
forever.
one might be one of my favorites just because it's a lot more unique than something like Teresa.
Tarzan.
Tarzan is seriously the best one. Yeah, for those that don't know, when I worked at this Italian restaurant and had a name tag on, I walked up to this table and this lady was looked at it. She's like leaning forward, reading it, squinting her eyes. She's like, "Your name's Tarzan?" No, no, it isn't.
It is now.
Yeah. But then, it was funny because I did when I wore a name tag at the restaurants, I got really used to coming home or before I left, I'd look in the mirror and I would see has written. So, because was it backwards. And so like I got really used to seeing Hazrit all the time whenever I wore a name tag to work. So we're on the second entry in My Morning Musings. Um, Amber and I have not looked ahead to see what's coming up.
At all.
No, I feel like it's cool just to go in here blind. Um, you know, I might get ahead if I start recording like just the plain audio version of this for like YouTube and podcasts on my own would be the only way I would get ahead of this. But yeah, it's really weird because this was like almost exactly, it was 2 years and a month ago, and my life was so different then. Like it's really crazy. I feel like I did a lot of covering up when I wrote my journal, and I'm still doing some covering up to this day, especially until I like, like check with a lawyer. What can I say? What can I say? So, there's still going to be a bit of that going into it. We need to like, keep some personal things of other people, private names, details, and stuff. But it was a really crazy time.
Yeah.
Yeah. This time last year was crazy.
No, this time last year beats this time 2 years ago for
it,
sure.
it does. Yep. Yeah.
I'm still not over last year.
Yeah. So I think what we could say about last year is that around this time last year, somebody that had catfished us for quite a while passed away. And it wasn't until they died that we realized how much catfishing there was that went on. That was really, really intense. And then we found out that they were like two people at the same time.
Yeah, I can't. I'm
Okay.
just, no, I'm
Shall we
not
move?
touching it.
Shall we move on from that? Do you want to read about May 22nd, 2023 then?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's do that. So, day 2 of morning pages. And I'm already worried about running out of things to write.
Huh?
That's the funniest thing for me. I was super stressed about that. Like, I thought, like, what in the world if I continue these pages and am I going to write about? And now, recently, especially this month, because I'm working a job right now that doesn't pay as much as I would like it to. And then I have some people, Amber too. I have people that I would like to spend my evenings with that, so I can't work super late in the afternoon. So I haven't been writing my musings consistently, and I'm really missing them. So I need to try to figure out how to like even just do a couple of paragraphs during a day, like just to keep them going for right now. Because while I was worried on day 2 that I was going to run out of things to say, now I'm like, how am I not getting these words out of my head?
Now you're running out of time to say the things that you need to say.
Yeah, I got serious things I need to say, and I don't have time to do it. So, okay. How do you fill 3 handwritten pages about nothing every day for decades? Well, I now know. Like, I've only been doing it for 2 years, and I could see how somebody could just keep doing it. It's like the show they pitch on Seinfeld. What's your television show about? Nothing. What are my morning pages about? Nothing. I do understand the point of them. Keep your hand moving no matter what. Yesterday's pages were over 1,000 words. That surprised me. After that, I went on to handwrite a devotional and a short story. It's really quite interesting what happens when you get to a place of just writing it all down completely uncensored. It changes the way your brain works. I said this on day 2, and now, like 2 years in, I'm like, yeah, my brain is like completely changed. Your mind is giving you words or ideas all day long, but too often we critique it and judge what it gives. You don't like those? Fine. How about these? No? Okay. Well, how about this one? Over and over, our creative brain tries to please us, and we just sit there waiting for the perfect word or thing, the one that will wow others, the thing that makes our career or validates us to our families. We're so busy thinking of how others receive us that we fail to consider how we receive ourselves. I think most of us have the unconscious brains of a 5-year-old. They're sponges of information we don't know what to do with. Can you imagine a 5-year-old child bringing their parent a drawing and the parent saying, "No, that's awful"? The dejected child goes and makes another picture. Surely this one will please their mother, but they're shut down over and again without any encouragement. I think our creative brains are innocent, just like a 5-year-old. When it brings us an idea, we need to be encouraging, even if it isn't exactly what you wanted or asked for. Learn to say, "Thank you. I like that," or "I appreciate this part of me." And then you can follow it up with a "What else do you have?" or "What else can you do?" Like a small child, it'll run back to the drawing board and find something else to bring you. Also, like a child who's encouraged, who loves to create, and who continues working at a craft, your creative brain will bring you more and better ideas. It'll learn what you like. You can train it to work for you. That results in inspiration coming easier. You'll sit down and words will flow through you. You won't have to struggle for them as much. Less and less as time goes on. It'll feel like magic to you and look like magic to those watching because you learn to allow and not resist. You accept the good with the bad, polishing what you can and quietly discarding the rest. I think this would be a good time, Amber, for you to share a little bit about my early days of uh, writing sprints with you.
I actually think this would be a good time to point out that author Shay Lenore was the one who told us that we were magical and our words were magical, and that she didn't think she could be an author because authors were magical unicorn creatures. And I think that's where that stemmed from because that was before she actually started writing. Um, I'm pretty sure that was right around the time whenever I first met her too. So, yeah, she was telling us how we were magical, and we talked about this at length, how other people saw our words as magic, even when we thought they weren't good enough. And yeah, when we started first doing writing sprints, I remember you were almost in tears because we were in the one chat, the original shit show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we had set like a 15-minute writing sprint. And then we had what Emma Lemming did like 800 words in 15 minutes. And then we had those who should not be named who did like 600, a couple of people that did 500. I think I did almost 400. And then you had like 115 or 120. And you were like, what is wrong with you people? And then
It
you
was
like private
minuscule.
messaging me. You totally private messaged me and was like, I can't do this. Why is everyone able to write faster than me? I am a failure. I don't even want to be an author anymore. I want to give up. I hate this. It was wild how like you were so upset and I was like, no, 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 no.
I did
Don't do
feel
that.
I felt really crushed. I was totally comparing myself to other people while I was trying to make all of the words that I was writing perfect. So that
Yeah,
was
and I try to tell you like you're not inadequate. You're doing things on your level at a different speed and you're trying to you tend to try to write perfect the first time while other people are just vomiting on the page to get it down. There's going to be more editing for them than there will be for you. And you didn't like that answer either. You were mad at me because you were like, "No, shut up." I remember you were not happy at all.
I am going to agree a little bit with Shay though. I think that all authors have a bit of magic in them. Some authors are more willing to admit it than others, but like I don't know where the words that I write come from. Like when I write my morning musings, it feels like I have an inner monologue from somebody else writing them down. When I write my fiction stories, it feels like I'm like downloading something, and it's my job to just take what I'm seeing and like translate it onto paper for other people to read and enjoy. So yeah, I really don't know where stories or books or words come from because they're still just really strange to me.
I know where they come from.
You know
Apparently,
where
they
they
come
come
from the writing pool that you keep talking about.
from? This is true. There is a pool out there and anybody can write in them. All right. Back to the musings. I say often words are hard, and they are. Oh, hey, look, here's an M dash. I would like to clarify that these were not written by AI at all, but I am an author that uses M dashes, and there is one there in my second entry of My Morning Musings, just so
I
everybody's.
probably actually put it there during editing because I love those.
That's probably a lot more likely. I use them in fiction, and I probably use some in here. Yeah. So that's really funny. Okay.
I will take the
So
blame for that one because I think I remember adding that one.
M dash added by a real life person, not AI. All right. So that's right after words are hard. And they are M dash when we aren't in the flow state. In the flow state, we sometimes forget to breathe because the ideas are just working. We'd do anything to keep them coming. When we're out of the flow state, every sentence is a struggle. It takes hours to get down a few hundred words. These morning pages are helpful because they teach you to tap into that state of mind on a daily basis. You just allow the ideas to come. Being an allowance is a wonderful feeling. It's ease. We block that ease by bracing for what could come. Well, I don't want it to be bad. I don't want it to suck. We all need to be willing to create something that sucks. Get it out of the way now. Maybe it's the hair clog blocking your flow. The longer you resist it, the dirtier the good stuff that leaks through it. Or the clog grows and becomes a complete blockage. Let it out. Be willing to deal with and get rid of it. What's the worst that can happen? You create something that stinks and nobody wants to buy it. At least you created. Celebrate that and start asking, what's next? What would be more fun to create than that? We need to learn to ask more questions. Questions are the greatest unsticking tool we have. Don't believe me? Try them. Use them consistently for a week or two. Have a terrible idea you don't like? Ask, what can I do with this? Or, how does it get any better?
Or what editor can I talk to make this worth reading?
Editors are magical too.
Yes.
A really good editor can take something that you feel like is crap and ask you enough questions and inspire enough changes in that work that all of a sudden like it's something magical when they're done with it.
Yep.
I like to write horror and dark fantasy. One of my favorite questions to ask is, how can it get worse? Or, what is the most terrible thing I can do to my characters now?
Evil.
This typically results in my fans saying the two words I love to hear the most.
You're a monster.
You monster.
I didn't have to read that in the book to know the answer.
It's
I can see it on the page, but I knew the answer.
just music to my ears. I love it. So, if you're stuck with a clog in your flow pipe, start asking questions. What can I do with this? If I let it out, what's the worst that can happen? Maybe your clog is just a baby so big and beautiful that it causes extra labor pains, but you were resisting giving birth because of fear. Seriously, let it out. Since not everyone wants horrifically dark elements in their art, I'll offer some questions for shinier results. What would make this painting more beautiful? What is the most romantic thing my leading man could do now? Tailor the questions to suit you. Be okay with asking them more than once. Allow the ideas to come. Be okay if the first answer isn't exactly what you wanted. Say thank you and ask, what else? I can't stress enough how magical questions are. Like, I feel like I've used, you've, okay, be my witness, Amber. Have I not consistently used questions over the past 2 years?
Oh, sometimes it's kind of annoying because if I don't have the answer, you get annoyed.
Okay,
And
but
it's like,
also in my
okay, I don't have
musings.
the answer. You have to find the answer. And you're like, I don't have the answer. That's why I have the question.
It's true. But do I not credit questions with being a catalyst to help me change my life?
It's the start of brainstorming. If you don't have a question, you don't have anything to brainstorm about.
And
And
then
not
nothing
only
can
that, but
change.
like another thing that I noticed that we have kind of both been, I don't know if you've been doing it lately. Like we've neither one of us have been writing lately. But another thing that since this was written that I have found that is helpful, it's not just like what did you say? What can make this painting more beautiful? It's more like, can I describe this with all adjectives? Or can I describe something else? Look at your wall, look at your bed, look outside for a minute and just try to describe a scene. Get out of your head just for a moment to describe something else. And then it sometimes helps the flow start again, which is a big thing that I use when I get stuck.
Yeah, questions are powerful. They
Yeah.
unstick you.
Like, what do I see in front of me? Can I describe the person or the object in front of me? That usually helps to get out of the story long enough to get back into the story and then get back to asking questions about your characters and what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Moral of the story, ask questions. So many of us stifle our creativity like the critical parent. Your creative child might be scared of you by now. It's not too late to fix it. Begin by being as loving, encouraging, as accepting as you can. Rebuild the confidence of your creative child to how it was when you were little. Think about your very first drawing when you were just old enough to grip and hold a crayon. You put a few colorful squiggles on a piece of paper and marveled at your brilliance. Look what you could do. Magic.
Oh my gosh, I've been babysitting my 2-year-old cousin and she loves markers and she puts like 3 lines on the paper and runs up and goes, she calls me mama. I'm not mama, but anybody who's an adult female is mama. Anybody who's adult male is daddy. Jabari, my son, he's daddy.
Oh,
It's
that's cute.
funny. It's hilarious. But she'll run up to me and be like, look, mama, look, I did it. I did it. And I'm just like, oh, wow, that's beautiful. And she goes, I can't believe it. And then goes and draws again. It's adorable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So adorable.
right. And look how much her creativity can just keep growing as she gets older because she's embracing the magic of just a couple squiggly lines.
Oh, she's only 2. And with the kids in my house, she's going to be an artist by the time she's 3.
Right? That's how it works.
Yes.
At some point, someone put the idea to your creative child that what they were creating wasn't the most amazing thing in the universe.
Oh,
What? What a tragic blow to a fragile eagle.
oh.
So you started blocking your flow and censoring what came out. An arbitrary bar was set, and anything that didn't measure up was crap. At some point, you have to quit believing that everything you create needs to be good enough. This doesn't allow room for practice and failure. If you're too afraid to fail, you'll never have the opportunity to succeed. If someone were to walk into a room of kindergartners and ask, how many of you know how to sing? How many of them would raise their hands? All of them. Let those same kids grow up for 20 years and ask them again, how many know how to sing? Definitely not all of them. Almost everyone can produce the sound we call singing, which is different from what we call talking. Did the adults forget how to make their vocal cords sing? No, but they have an arbitrary bar set. If they can't meet or exceed that bar, they consider themselves unable. Most people, because very few are legitimately tone deaf, can learn to sing at a skill level that most would accept as pleasant, but they have to be willing to allow less than pleasant sounds to come out first, just like learning an instrument. Are you willing to produce what you might consider a failure in order to practice your way to a masterpiece?
Look, I feel like this was very personal for you, especially the singing, because I know that you were working on your voice and your singing, especially when we first started hanging out before this was even being written, and you were really self-conscious about that. And then when you came to Texas to see me, me and you were like scream singing songs together, which was great. And I loved it, even though I should not be singing in front of anyone.
No, whatever. No, so that whole singing story, like analogy that I put in there was actually from my first singing coach. Um, like she mentioned that one of the early times in my first voice lessons was she's like, at you go ask a whole bunch of kids if they know how to sing, and all of them do, but you ask the same group of adults later, and not all of them are going to, like at least half of them are going to say they don't know how to sing. So like at what point did we feel like our vocal cords lost that ability? So it's just something that we limit ourselves on.
Right. And that applies to everything in life. Writing, drawing, hell, driving.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like I've known people who just go years and years without driving because they don't feel like they can, and then they start doing it and they're like, oh, I anything cooking. So many people say they can't cook. No, it's not that you can't cook, it's that you haven't taken the time to learn how to make it work. You
Right.
have the ability. Everyone has the ability to write a story. Everyone has the ability to draw a picture. Even if it doesn't turn out the best, it's not going to until you get practice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, we don't just magically know how to do things. We have to learn how to do things. So if you're not willing to put in some time and effort, it's like who knew how to tie their shoes the very first time? But obviously, we all felt it was worthwhile to learn how to tie our shoes. So we struggled along until we could do it. But then we
Well, but
make it.
there are some people who just have like an innate ability to do some things, and people see that and they're just like, ew, they didn't even try. I don't want to try now, and they give up. That's
Mhm.
You cannot put yourself and like measure yourself up to somebody who picks up a freaking flute and can play the Star Spangled Banner the next day. That's not fair, because just because they could pick up that one thing, they might be pitch perfect. They might just have something going on with their lips or their hands or something. They have better hand-eye coordination, whatever. You can't compare yourself to that just because somebody has an innate ability. If somebody has a better writing talent, if somebody has a better running talent, if somebody's faster than you, that doesn't mean you can't ever reach their speeds. That just means that you have to try a little harder. And if you decide not to try harder, that is on you.
Well, isn't it like that analogy that if flying is the standard by which we measure ourselves, then every fish is a failure kind of thing?
Right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to, if somebody else gets it easier than you, that doesn't mean you can't do it. That just means that
Right.
you have to want to do it.
Yeah. And you can train yourself to do, like, you can learn and practice and work your way into becoming like an expert and very skilled at like almost anything that you would want to do.
Yes.
You can at least become proficient in like almost anything that you want to do.
Like, why do they have schools for everything? There wouldn't be a cosmetology school if everyone just knew how to cut hair when they were 5. You have to learn that stuff. You can be 20 years old, never cut anyone's hair, and then by the time you're 24 years old, you could be the best stylist in the world. You just have to want it, and you have to go for it.
Okay, so Amber's youngest was 5 or 6 when Amber and I started hanging out a lot. So I always think of her as 5 or 6. So now that she's older, she should be able to cut my hair, right? Like she's like 8 or 9. So
She's
like
8, and no, she's actually really not great with scissors. She's she's using them finally, we haven't got to the point where she can cut out a snowflake out of paper yet because she's motor compromised, kind of like my now 16-year-old was. Her hands, her hand-eye coordination is not great, and she has trouble jumping and running. It's, part of the stuff we got wrong with us. But
Mm-hmm.
she struggles with that. But but she can draw a picture of Stitch almost exactly like the picture on the screen. So she
We all
wanted to
have
learn how to
different
draw like her
talents. Yeah.
sister. She decided she wanted to draw as well as her sister. She decided she wants to become an artist. She's 8 and she can literally draw anything that she sees in front of her. She can't use scissors real well. Don't let her cut your hair, Tirzah. Do not
Okay.
let her near your head with scissors. That is a bad idea. But if you want her to draw your face, she can probably do a pretty good job.
Got it. All right. We should wrap this one up, but maybe we should mention a little bit that we're offering, what are we calling them? So I feel like it's coaching, but it's also like if you just want to sit and chat with somebody. Both Amber and I are really good at talking with people, helping you get unstuck. So
Encouragement and motivation,
yeah, like if you want to
brainstorming,
talk through
storyboarding.
a story idea or get some editing help one on one. So you can book either Amber or I individually, or if you think it'd be more fun to talk to both of us together, we're going to start offering that too. So I can't say how long this is going to go on for, although I do think, like, it could just be something that we do offer all the time on a limited basis. Um, yeah, so we are making ourselves available for chat. We're doing it at a fee that allows us to make a wage to pay our bills because, we got to keep the electricity on and pay for the computers in front of us. But yeah, so we're here. We're gonna have the link in the description. Both Amber and I's website will be in there, and you'll probably be able to find them both through mine anyway, just because I'm always supporting Amber and I'm gonna include her links in most everything I do. And now that she's got control of her link tree that I created for her, maybe she'll keep that going. I know she already switched it and she's got some things going on there. So
I'm getting
that's
my shit together.
it's up to
I'm
date
doing
as
it.
of this point, right?
Yeah, yes, I am 100% getting everything together. I'm working on it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So yours was linktree.com/slyest and huntress. Is that what I set up for you?
I don't
All
know.
right. Well, that'll be in the
I
notes.
suck with stuff like that,
And then of
but
course, mine you'll be able to find Amber's too if you just go to tirzahmhawkins.com. I'm just gonna have everything there for you. So you can look for something called coaching or chatting or talk
something. We
something.
need to create a form for that so we can find out. We'll discuss that after this, but we need to figure out what we need to put on there so we can make sure that we know exactly what we're going into. That way we don't have to spend like 10 minutes figuring out what we're supposed to be talking about when we first open.
By the time we get this published on our YouTube channel, it'll all be figured out.
Set up.
That's
Yeah.
might not where it's not going to be by the time we record our next video because we're going to do that now. But yeah, we'll have it figured out. We fly by the seat of our pants all the time like this. So
There is method to our madness. It eventually comes out great, even if it starts out completely crappy.
hey, you're the crazy lady. We got lots of chaos happening. You got Lady Chaos in your books. I'm the Scream Queen. So we just run around screaming our heads off like crazy people, right?
Yeah, the void hates us.
This is true.
It wants to return us and it doesn't have a receipt.
All right. So we're going to wrap this one up and we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Where do I end? There we go. I found it.